Hello and happy Zen Soul Day. The day I'm posting this is May 27th, which is release date for the Zen Soul, and while everyone wants to see comparisons to other balls, they also want to know if it'll fit in their bag, and if so, where it would go. So I'm going to do a build-a-bag video today featuring Angel. If you like any of the jerseys that she's wearing, Rosdahl 10 gets you 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick. The code is in the description to copy and paste. Follow my Bowler's Mart link in the description for your bowling needs. That associates your purchases with me, which helps me out quite a bit, so thanks for using that. Check out the SRGBBFS group on Facebook for all things SPI, and of course thanks to Turbo and especially Storm for keeping us in equipment to show off to everyone. Also, the new Super Thanks button below the video on the line with the like and share buttons allows you to leave me a tip, other than that I should have bought a Zen Soul also so I could finally have a soul. I'm going to go through Angel's typical bag right now. The Zen Soul has fit into the regular rotation. I'll talk about a few extra options, what it might overlap, and what it might replace if you're looking that direction. Showing a few shots here at the beginning to refresh your memory. I put up the review a few weeks ago if you want to check that out for the full breakdown, but she found it to be closer to the Zen than to the Master. Her layouts are all the same. She tested all three on the same pattern at the same house, and the Soul was a slightly earlier and stronger version of the Zen, though it has about the same friction response. Better is relative, but I would call this a more versatile Zen. The same reaction you love about the Zen, but more forgiving and more versatile. Typically when the Zen is good, it's really good, but it lets you know when it's time to put it away. The Soul, I think, is generally more usable, and usable for longer than the original. Quite a few people have said this is what the Master should have been, and I don't quite agree with that statement because the Master still has its place. I think what they really mean is that the Soul is what they wish the Master would have been. Now, no matter the semantics, it's a pretty complete trilogy of balls, and while I don't think all three of them can fit in the same bag, I think that either the original or the Soul could fit together with the Master, and you can see an in-depth comparison of all three in the review, so I won't go over that again here. That review is linked at the end of the video if you just want to follow the link when you're done here. At the top of Angel's bag is the Altered Reality. She doesn't take it all the time because, like I said in my recent Sport Essentials video, it just doesn't stay out for very long, very often. It's really strong. She still has her reality. It makes it out even less because it's even stronger, but with lane shine, it's like a smoother altered. Now, if you have a dark code or something like an Original Physics, RSTX1, Nuclear Cell, those are in this general area or zone. If you step up a bit, that's where the Proton, the Gem, UFO, and the Reality live. So she doesn't take the big stuff really ever. The top of her bag is a little half step down from those. Still pretty strong, but not as diggy, to use the complex technical term. This would be a step to a step and a half above the Soul. Next in her bag is the Nova. It's a super heavy use ball for her, usually the first ball out of the bag, and it's rare when she doesn't get to use it until she's forced to put it away. Now what I mean by that is that on most occasions, definitely for league and house shot tournaments, she has a look with it. She just did very well using it nearly exclusively at the Greater Ozarks tournament in Springfield, Missouri, which is on challenge patterns, and it shapes the same no matter where she's standing, so a couple board move right or left puts her in a zone where it's effective from. The Soul is either slightly below or sideways from the Nova. While the Nova has a stronger core, the Soul has a stronger cover formula. Sure, they're both hybrids, but the R2X formula on the Nova is a step or two down from the S77 response cover on the Soul, so if you throw them side by side, the Nova rolls just as strongly, but it doesn't react quite as sharply. These could be interchanged when you feel like the amount of hook or traction is right, but you need to adjust the shape, or basically when you feel like you're really close but not quite there on ball reaction. I have a classroom video coming out about the difference between hook or traction and friction response or sharpness that will get more in depth on that, but that makes these two good complements, and that's how she's been using them. Other balls in this zone would be the Rubicon, Idle Helios, Zen Master, Phase 2, UFO Alert, Rubicon UC2, and RSTX2. Now right next to the Soul, or a little step down, is her original R2S Pearl Phase, which is basically a Phase 4 in a different color, so that's what I'm going to show and talk about. Very similar strength core to the Soul, strong rolling and revving, but the P4 cover is a decided step or two down in strength. The result is something that rolls pretty similar to the Soul, but doesn't have as much traction. So once again, it's another one of those adjustments where you feel like you're close, but it's not quite right. She likes strong rolling stuff that really controls the lane, so she tends to stay in the Nova Soul phase zone. Other stuff in this general area would be the Zen and Phase 3, although they're a bit stronger than the P4. The UC2 and X2 could almost fit here too. The cover strength puts them here for sure. Now, so far we have the Altered Reality in the top spot, the Nova and Zen Soul kind of sharing the next couple, and supplemented by the original R2S phase / Phase 4, so under that she drops to a High Road. Since the cover strength of the P4 and High Road are about the same, the High Road cover being R2S Hybrid is just a bit stronger than the P4 cover, she's just coring down, and what that means is that she's in a similar traction level, but going to a weaker core. If she gets down to the P4 and it's rolling too early, the next step down is the High Road, which just gets down the lane further. As you can see, it still covers a lot of ground down lane, and the P4 back-to-back with this really illustrates the core differences. The P4 is still firm on the back end, but definitely earlier and more gradual than the High Road, which scoots down the lane and then really flies. Other balls in this zone would be the IQ Tour Solid, Wolverine, High Road Pearl, both the Hyped Pearl and Hybrid, and then down into the Hustles, Electrifies, and Burners. The last ball in her bag is the Yellow Badger Poly, which I don't have any footage for, but it's nice and consistent like a spare ball should be. As far as overlap, there's not a ton at the moment. The Idle Helios, Phase 2, Phase 3, and Zen are of similar hook potentials, but SPI has been really good about mixing up the shapes among releases that have similar hook potentials, so if you have any of those balls and would like a similar hook potential but a different look as far as shape goes, you'll be fine with the Soul. The Phase 2 and Helios would probably overlap the most though. I'm not sure you need all three of them. 2 could coexist, but 3 might be overkill. Now obviously there's a million combinations you can have, and this might be really helpful or mean absolutely nothing, I don't know. I do know that you can use my code Rosdahl10 to save 10% off your CoolWick order at checkout. Use my Bowler's Mart link to buy yourself a Zen Soul or anything else, really helps me out. SRGBBFS group on Facebook. Thanks Turbo, big thanks to Storm, thank you for watching, and may the strikes be with you.